Have you ever felt like the ground simply disappeared beneath your feet? As if the world kept spinning around you. People continued with their daily routines, but you were suddenly trapped in a deafening silence. We live in a culture that treats mourning like a project with a deadline. Society expects you to organize your emotions, stay busy, and quickly return to your normal routine, treating grief as a temporary glitch that needs to be fixed. But pushing this pain into the depths of your mind to maintain an illusion of normalcy has a high cost. Unprocessed suffering doesn't disappear. It somaticizes, mutating into physical exhaustion, emotional blockages, and silent, repeating cycles of anxiety. Treating loss as an emotional accident you have to cure actively prevents your psyche from confronting the profound reality of what has actually occurred. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung observed that the most profound life experiences are not chosen by us. They are forced upon us. To Jung, grief is a structural collapse. When we lose someone we deeply love, we lose the internal representations they held within us. They may have been an emotional anchor or the reflection of an envisioned future. Without them, everything in our psyche that relied on that bond shatters. This collapse surgically dismantles our culturally ingrained belief that we can manage or anticipate the forces of life. We build routines to protect ourselves, but death sweeps in with absolute coldness, proving that we are radically powerless. This internal wreckage is excruciating, but Jung did not see it as a mistake to be corrected. He recognized it as a forced clearing of the ground, preparing the mind for a completely new psychological configuration. This total disorganization hurls the soul into a state of suspension, initiating the difficult process of reorganizing your internal meanings. With the logical structure of your ego weakened by loss, the unconscious stops acting as a silent background player. It steps forward and becomes the protagonist of your healing process. In the sudden void left by the deceased, a part of the psyche we usually hide begins to surface. Jung called this the shadow, the collection of unacceptable emotions, denied truths, and impulses that our normal waking life suppresses. Grief strips away all our social masks. You might suddenly feel inappropriate anger toward the person who died. You might experience irrational guilt for things left unsaid, bitter resentment toward people who aren't suffering, or a terrifying realization of your own dependency. Our instinct is to stifle these ugly feelings out of shame, but Jung strictly warned against this. What you do not accept in yourself ends up controlling you. Hiding the shadow hands its silent authority over your mind. Encountering these dark, uncomfortable emotions is not a failure of grieving. It is the exact mechanism required to integrate forgotten parts of yourself and discover who you are without the person you lost. Because your conscious mind cannot endure the raw reality of this absence all at once, the unconscious begins communicating through an intense, vivid new language of symbols while you sleep. You might dream of dark oceans, locked doors, silent animals, or distant voices. The mind summons these vivid motifs to digest an unbearable reality. Jung believed the psyche uses these encounters to migrate the relationship from the material world into a permanent internal archetype, allowing the bond to continue in a symbolic dimension. Jung survived his own internal collapse by surrendering to these chaotic images, documenting them in the Red Book. He found that you prevent insanity not by fighting the unconscious with logic, but by listening to what it presents. These images are the unconscious attempting to restore the psychic balance shattered by loss. Pain acts as an alchemical agent. If you remain conscious within the suffering, without fleeing or numbing the discomfort, the psyche naturally begins to reorganize itself. Jung called this rebirth individuation. The pre-loss version of yourself is gone. Instead, a new center is built from the broken pieces. You emerge grounded, the memory shifting from an open wound into deep existential roots. Rebirth happens when you carry that absence as an integrated part of a newly evolved identity. If you are navigating this process right now, understand that your disorientation is not a weakness. It is a psychological rite of passage that separates you from the life you once knew. Do not rush it. Don't force a return to normal. Surrender to your mind's timeline and let it do the work. If you are supporting someone in mourning, realize the harm in trying to fix their pain. Offering logical platitudes or demanding a timeline for their recovery only alienates them. True support requires offering a quiet, non-judgmental presence. It means sitting with them without trying to erase the suffering, simply allowing the other person's soul to be heard. Surviving grief requires the courage to remain in the dark cave of loss. If you stay in the discomfort long enough, your eyes adjust to the darkness, allowing a truer, resilient self to finally see the light.